Everybody, we're back. We're still doing these. We're still filming. We're doing the podcast.
3 months.
12.
Is that right?
Episode 12. Is it
episode 12? Yeah, 3
Every
months.
week. Episode 12.
Ballpark.
It kind of flew by, honestly.
It has been.
Still feels like episode 1.
Yeah, and we're still producing.
When we were nothing. And we're still, kind of
nothing.
When we were nobodies.
Amazing. But now we get a little bit of fan.
We
mail,
have
so
like tens of followers.
Hey, we appreciate the tens of followers, though. We've got some loyal supporters, and it's starting to grow a little bit. We're seeing some momentum, so we like that. And we appreciate everybody that is listening that is one of those loyal followers, loyal listeners.
Absolutely.
Jesse Roberts.
Yes.
Karen.
Burkhardt's mom, yes.
Yes.
I don't know her.
Burkhard's
Karen,
mom.
is that her name?
Karen, yep.
Karen.
That lady shows us so much love, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to Karen. We
Dude,
love
nothing is better than like being out somewhere and someone recognizes you from it or talks about it. They're like, oh my gosh, I love your show.
Wasn't that we were
Like,
only like a
it's-
few episodes in and we were at the fair walking around?
Yeah,
and
the
someone
flicker
said
tail.
that. Yeah, and they're like, aren't you like from the Three Dudes or something? I was like, what the fuck?
I know someone came up to just me and Broden and they're like, oh my God, it's 2 dudes. Where's the third dude? And we're
Yeah.
like, he's around here somewhere.
Probably throwing up.
I
behind
think,
a tree.
we
Yeah.
were out at the top and somebody brought that up to us and we're
Yeah.
like, yeah, he's here, but like, we'll get him together and
Yeah. But
we'll
we
put on a show for you.
we really appreciate you guys actually saying those things. So don't think you're going unnoticed. We actually talk about it a lot. Every time someone comes up to us, we go, someone came up to me at the bar tonight and loves the show. So we've had some conversations about, I think last week we talked about some live shows, but not that it's going to be anytime soon, but we're kind of getting the ball rolling on that. So that's excited. We've been spitballing some things. But yeah, other
A
than
couple
that,
different places we could be at.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys have any leads there, we'd love that. And maybe let us know if you'd actually want a live show because it's not going to be for a while, but we'd love to gauge some interest to see if someone would like to come actually watch us do this live
Yeah.
instead of through a screen. But other than that, is there anything new with you guys? It's been about a week since we've filmed. Vikings won again today. Not a big deal.
Of course you love
Not
that.
to me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want.
I don't even,
Not to
also-
me.
I don't even like the
Doesn't
Vikings,
matter to
and
me.
I was somehow still up to watch that game this morning.
What time was
And
it?
for those of you that don't know, they
8:30.
played in England
My
this
God.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So normally it's noon that football teams play, but they played at 8:30. And for some reason, I was up
Yeah, that's
and
all right.
watching it, and I don't even care about the Vikings.
Because you're such a big sports fan.
I that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
You woke me up this morning in the recliner.
Yeah.
That's how I was.
Fell
Like,
asleep on the recliner last night.
oh, it was bad today. I told y'all about it. It was a bad day. Today
Liam
was-
had a little bit of the bottle flu, he called it in our
yeah.
text.
Do you want to talk about what happened at the golf course, or would you rather just
No,
leave that
absolutely,
untouched?
yeah.
To premise before to lead you into this, I texted a couple days ago, and usually we film these at Sunday at about 6 or 7 at night, and then we post them Tuesday. So we want to give as much or short of room for you guys to leave comments and stuff for us to read. But I texted like 3 days ago and I said, hey, let's film at like 3 or 4, I think I said. And then Liam, obviously, he's going to tell the story, but he was not down for that. So Liam,
Yeah.
how did your Sunday go today?
Sunday was awful. Sunday was horrible. I woke up just disheveled. It was the feeling that when you wake up and you say, I'm never drinking again, and it just hurts. And
What's in that
we
cup
are.
right here?
That is Cherry Windsor. Classy.
Yep.
I woke up tea time at 10:29. Woke up in the recliner at about 10. Threw the pants on and the polo and headed out the door. And I got to the 6th hole, and I was on the fringe of the green and just started throwing up in front of the cart, just
Projectile vomiting.
just puking everywhere. And I was like, oh, God, there's no way I go through a full 18. So we got to the turn. I said, you know what? It's getting to be about fall time. How many more chances am I going to get to go golf?
Yeah.
So I went in and I bought me a summer sausage sandwich, a Gatorade, and a Mountain Dew.
There's your first problem. Summer sausage is horrible, I think.
You think?
I think
yeah.
that's a rejuvenator, but
I love summer sausage.
I think it's a poor man's meat.
That's crazy. And maybe
dude,
that's why I like
you're
it.
gonna say that when there's stuff like
Maybe that's why I like it.
there's stuff like bologna out there, and you're
Yeah,
gonna say
come
that's
on.
a poor man's meat.
Yeah.
Bologna
Summer
is a
sausages.
hot dog, and like
They're in the same tier.
No, you cannot put summer sausage that low.
Honestly, if I had to pick one, I'd eat bologna over summer sausage.
Wow.
The little circle package with the yellow flip lid. Have you seen those bologna things?
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, I used to crush that as a kid.
That's
Over summer sausage.
yeah.
Yeah.
But to rank it over, so that's the crazy part for me because
Never been a summer
Dude,
sausage.
yeah.
guy.
Hey, let's hear that. Let's hear about that. Bologna or summer sausage?
Yeah,
get the
comment
debate
that.
going.
But you get into the pro shop, you get your
Get the
summer
sandwich,
sausage,
I get the Gatorade. I ask him, I go, "You guys got any Advil or something?" just begging for it. They gave me a couple Bear aspirin. Hammered those.
Did they put just someone pull it out of their pocket,
It's
like the
just
lint
It's just
aspirin?
in the desk. Yeah.
Oh.
And so, boom, I'll get to the 10th tee.
They're like, I think this is aspirin. You can.
Try it. Yeah. Had a few sips of Gatorade. Took the aspirin. Had a few bites of sausage. Teed off. I get about halfway down the fairway and I start puking on the side of the cart again. And I'm like, you know what?
Today's not my day.
Not today. I was playing.
Did
pretty
you go
well, too.
home after that?
Yeah, I
You
went.
immediately left in the middle of the 10th hole.
I left. Well, I let Nick finish out the hole, but I felt horrible because then he didn't. He
Did
didn't.
he
He
stay or
didn't
no?
finish his round. No, I think he stayed and hit a couple buckets, but ruined the rest of the day. For
Oh,
him.
he didn't
So I
want to go
felt
finish
bad.
by himself?
Well, he had because he spun me back around on the 10th
Mm.
to drop him back off of my truck, and then he lost our spot because there's guys behind us. So
Yeah. That's all
Felt
right, though.
hey,
It happens.
it happens.
It happens. And then he just took a nap for the rest of the day. Yeah.
Average
Yep.
Sunday.
Watch some of the Dahmer documentary. Phenomenal.
Jeffy
Which is
Dahmer?
crazy.
Jeffy?
How many episodes are you into it?
2.
Oh, I'm on. I just finished 5. Only gets crazier.
Haven't watched
it's,
it.
Crazy.
Don't say anything. Haven't
you.
watched it yet.
It's
Well, he kills people.
Who?
Jeffy.
Jeffy kills people.
Jeffy Dahmer.
it's pretty like I knew it was bad and I know the stories are bad, but then you watch it and you're like, ugh,
like holy shit.
this
This
isn't
guy
great.
is bad.
This guy's a bad guy.
But he's so nonchalant about it.
And I
It's the crazy
said I
thing.
said that to someone after I watched the first 2 episodes. I was like, yeah, that Jeffrey Dahmer guy's a pretty bad guy. And they looked at me, they're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but I didn't like no. Like
Yeah.
you'd think about, oh, he ate people or whatever.
knew
It's like, yeah,
about
whatever.
him?
And then
Yeah.
you see it and you're like,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it was
You
kind
did-
of like when I watched that Queen movie. I was like, I heard Freddie Mercury was gay.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't know he was that gay. Like, this guy's really gay.
this guy's
He's
Top-
doing it.
The
This
guy
guy-
loves his Sheboygan.
he's committed to the bit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's summer sausage and all.
This guy's really gay. Yeah, no, he was a top shelf gay.
Top show.
You should watch Rocket Man.
Elton John,
Yeah.
also gay, I heard.
I heard you did hear correctly. That has been confirmed, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's pretty gay in that movie too.
Thinking,
But is he gay in real life?
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh.
It'd be crazy if he wasn't.
pretty gay, yeah.
It's like, yeah, he's really
Well, I mean, it's like
They're
Brokeback Mountain. Those guys aren't gay, but they were pretty gay in
yeah,
that movie.
But that's not a documentary about real people.
Could have been.
Do you know?
I don't know.
I bet somewhere along the line,
Think
a couple of cowboys got a little bit
Yeah.
too horny for their own good.
got a little too lonely.
Away from women for too long. They're like, we're both here.
Hey,
You got a hole. I got a hole.
I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
Yeah,
All right,
bingo.
we don't need to dive into this
Anyway,
anymore. I don't
let's
think.
start talking about war.
Yeah, no, let's get into the comments
What a
first.
swing.
Before we get into the episode, please, we're going to start saying this. We're going to start saying this at the beginning of the episode, but leave a rating and review. That really helps us. Keep telling us you like the podcast in person. That it doesn't help with the ratings, but it helps with our moral. I guess it's not moral.
Our
but
own self-confidence.
Yeah, our self-confidence. Keep putting these episodes out. We
I
like
walk around
knowing-
at work like nobody means shit.
Yeah.
You guys tell us.
He looks
how
down
good
at
we-
people, points at them, spits
Yeah.
at some people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, sometimes you see the numbers of people watching, but it doesn't really feel like people are watching. But when you have people come up and they tell you things, it's good. So leave comments, rating, review. We really we really appreciate it. But yeah, we only got 2 comments this week. First one, I'm Senate66. Who are your favorite bands or artists? I don't think we have to dive into this too much because I think we're gonna have a music episode.
Yeah.
But I've been really digging the Beatles lately. Like, you know that question where people always ask if you could go to a concert, anyone dead or alive, who would it be? My answer used to always be Michael Jackson. And now I've been leaning a little bit towards the Beatles. I went to that Beatles Love show in Vegas. And now I'm like, the Beatles have so many good songs that I just forgot about.
Agreed. 100%. They're good.
Yeah, so now I just play them on repeat. I'm sure I'll get sick of them in a couple weeks, but
What about you, Liam?
That's tough. That's far too short a notice for me
I-
to pick. I mean, as far as artist goes, I know you and me both would listen to Mac Miller until we're dead.
That's what I was gonna say. Dead or alive, I would 100% go to a Mac Miller concert.
Which is good answer from both of you. But
That's why it's tough for me to choose too, is because I love Mac, but I'm
so many genres too.
there's so many, and I'm such a fan of just music in general. I listen to probably every single genre.
You listen to a smorgasbord.
It is.
Missed a couple episodes.
I really do. Yeah, it is mayhem. If I put all my music on shuffle, we'll go from Mac Miller to I Prevail and just heavy metal, just crazy stuff, back to some pop or
I feel like
R&B.
For that specific question, like Dead or Alive, it's always older people for me. So like I actually went to an Elton John concert. He was gay during that too. And it was really good. He was like turned 75 2 days after. And I almost feel like I want people to be not past their prime, but it's like, okay, they've done so much. Then I can really appreciate their whole career.
Exactly. I think that's another part of it is that like when somebody dies or is done, like retired, you don't really see the full aspect.
Yeah.
Because they are done and you're like, look at what he did.
Yeah. Look at all this. Whereas I went to Justin Bieber when he was like, hadn't even hit his peak yet. I don't know if he has right now, but I went to Justin Bieber and it was a really good concert. And if your answer is Justin Bieber, I'd almost want to go to Justin Bieber in like 15, 20 years from now. You know what I mean?
Right. To just be able to look back
I wouldn't. I don't care that much. But if someone's like, hey, Justin Bieber's
just to do it.
Yeah, if someone's like, Justin Bieber's at the O. Cool.
At the O.
How many tickets are they selling?
That's another thing too, where like old, young, and then being in their prime too, is that I know there was just Bob Seger did like a farewell tour and now he's done. And that's one thing that my dad got me into Bob Seger because I remember riding around with him in the truck and he was just screaming his songs.
You're like,
well, this guy's got it going on.
Dad likes this guy.
I know. So I was like, I'm going to like him. And
it's crazy that
Bob
music
Seger would be great.
And we don't have to get too far into it because we are going to do a music episode. I think we should have a guest on for the music one, honestly. Someone that's like
just get somebody else's opinion.
A music fanatic, yeah. Because we're still talking about doing guests. And I think some of these topics are good to do with guests on that know more about the subject than us. Or not know more about it, but just really enjoy that subject. Yeah. But yeah, favorite bands, artists. We'll get into that in a music episode. Only _ Mark says, refrigerate your vermouth, homies. Vermouth. Sounds like Duluth. Vermouth. If it's been opened and left unrefrigerated, it'll start to lose flavor and quality in about a week, which is a bummer for something nice like the Carpano you got. If you refrigerate it, a dry vermouth will stay perfect for a month and a sweet for about 2.
Is this guy like the Gordon Ramsay of
I don't know.
liquors?
I think it's Dave
Coors?
Taffer. Bar Rescue. You guys ever seen that show?
I know what you're talking about.
That guy rips people apart.
Only Mark is Dave Taffer's burner account. He's like, I've got to look for these podcasts. Finds ours with the liquor shelf.
How do you spot that up there?
Honestly,
I can't spot it right now. I mean, I do see it now.
I don't know if you can see it on the cameras. I don't know how high it's framed.
Obviously,
I should because I set them up. But the bottle up there with the red cap is the vermouth that is now fucked because it's not been refrigerated for quite some time. I bought that 2 or 3 months ago when I wanted to.
12 episodes at least.
At least 12. I probably bought it a month before we even started. And I wanted to make an old fashioned, which old fashions, shitty, horrible. I don't know why everyone's like, oh, so
Disagree.
good. It's literally like,
Disagree.
It's so gross. And even if you get top shelf whiskey or scotch or whatever you're putting in it.
Yeah.
You don't need that. If you make it right, it tastes awesome.
Made it, literally. Ask Wyatt.
I will make you one and you're going to be like, you know what? I just didn't read any directions on how to make this.
How do you make it? Because I guarantee you I probably made it better than you made it.
Okay.
Come on, let's
get into it.
Let's hear it. Let's go.
So you start with, depending on what size glass you have.
This something like right something here, that's in my hand.
2, maybe 3 ice cubes max.
Well, I'm ahead of you already because I use the whiskey balls.
Don't do that.
Go ahead. Don't do what they tell you to do.
That's just fancy bullshit that makes it look cool.
That's not true.
100%.
They literally are called whiskey balls.
Great.
Okay.
More fancy bullshit for you to buy into.
Ice. It's ice. It's frozen water.
A difference because if it's bigger and more solid, then it's not going to melt as fast and it won't water down your beverage. That's why they make like Scotch rocks. Like it's rocks that you put in the freezer.
The big square ones.
Yeah.
And they put it on those heavy ass metal things that are just like, picture it making this sound.
but it
Oh, you're
looks.
talking about making the ice
cool.
ball?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's
I'm
right.
talking, no, it's an actual. It's like
Okay.
it's like rock. It's like granite, and then you just
Oh,
you keep
They
them in the
freeze
freezer.
it. Yeah.
So then it keeps your drink cold, but it doesn't water it down and dilute it.
So it's kind of like an ice pack. That's
Sure.
not plastic.
It's a rock.
But
It's a cube.
how
It's a-
close is it to what I have in my garden?
It's like putting an ice pack in your cooler
Not.
instead of putting ice
yes.
because it doesn't melt in your cooler.
Yeah. So it's like I got you.
Anyway, so you do that.
Yep.
Add 2 to 3 ice cubes because
Mhm.
I'm a big advocate for cubes instead of whatever it is that you said.
Whiskey balls.
Okay. Then you give yourself about a shot of whiskey in there, and you
Yep.
maybe a little bit more if depending on how much you enjoy a whiskey or how good the whiskey is.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't sound like you're following a recipe right now.
I think he's guessing off of his hip. He's hip fire.
Oh, well, I know how to make one. And
Yeah.
this is how I've made it. And I've been told from other people that have made it for that
Okay.
it tastes
So
good.
ice and whiskey, you're on a good start.
And then
And a cup. It's even better.
simple syrup.
Okay.
And if it's got like the nozzle on it that makes you like
Yep.
pound it in there. I don't know how to explain
Pound
it.
it.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yep.
You do about
Got the
3 to
liquor tip.
4 good little taps of that.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing?
And then
Bitters.
orange bitters.
Yep. Orange bitters.
Okay.
Are those like peels?
And then
No,
you
it's a liquid.
barely just
It's up there on
maybe
the shelf.
just a little bit of bitters. You don't want too much because it's very overpowering.
Yep.
Orange zest.
Okay. Like the outside. Yeah.
Yep. Add some of that in there. And if you really want, how I do it, I add a little slice of orange in there. Not like a full slice,
Yep.
but like just a little nugget.
Which is good. I think you missed sugar. You missed filthy cherries,
Wow.
which are also
Crazy
up
to
there.
miss something when you're not done yet.
Okay, well, you're taking forever to take this drink. There's people watching the show. I don't know if they're
get
following
around
along.
you guys commenting on everything I
Well,
say.
let's go. You're on Liam speaking fucking speed here.
Come on.
I'm sorry. That's crossfire.
But yeah, just a
out
tad,
of this.
like a tad bit of sugar, like
Yeah.
nothing crazy. And then whatever else you said, I don't add that. But
I muddle I don't know the exact recipe because I've made it in 3 months, but the sugar goes in first, and then you have just filthy cherries. I think they're up on the shelf. They come in a little box. You don't have any vermouth, which is a pretty big part of it, I think. We just talked about that. That's what the comment stemmed from. And I take the orange and I rub the peel on the outside of the glass.
I don't do all that. A little bit of orange. And
So yours probably tastes shittier than mine does.
all right.
You're doing less steps. I'm making it better somehow by like adding non-shit Scotch flavors.
You ever heard less is more?
No.
Yeah, look at him. He's done.
We're going to get into our topic, war. Episode 12, we're going to talk about war. We debated a couple different topics, but we're going to rock and roll with this one. And then, maybe down the road, we'll have a couple different episodes where we go into specific wars like World War I, World War II, Civil War, Revolutionary War, Vietnam, Viet Cong, all of it. But war. When do you guys think the first war ever recorded was? It took place. I'll give you a hint. It took place in one of my favorite places. And
Las
I mentioned
Vegas.
nope. And I mentioned it. Could though. I mentioned it in a previous episode, probably like 1 or 2 ago. Actually, in the Greek mythology episode, I think.
Greece?
No, starts with an M. It's between 2 rivers.
Oh, okay. I know. Mesopotamia.
Yeah,
Mesopotamia.
Mesopotamia. So when do you think it took place?
The year,
Is it BC or?
it's definitely BC.
It's BC.
It's probably like 1100 BC.
I want to say 2.
2700 BC. So long time ago. And it was between Sumar and Elam. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct, but Sumer, Elam.
Sumer.
The reason the war started was because the Elamites, whatever that city plus the ites at the end, were a potential threat to the Sumerians, and they had resources the Sumerians wanted. So that's pretty much how all war starts, I think, is, hey, I want something that you have.
Pretty much.
Resources.
And if you won't give it to me, we're going to fight about it.
I think it'd be even cooler if those were just 2 people, Sumar and Elam.
That was the first war.
They're like-
There was just a fist fight.
It's brothers, 2 brothers.
Like 2 years, they just fought each other every day
We got to write this on a rock somewhere so someone can talk about this.
on the Rosetta Stone.
Eventually, they're going to have a podcast, and we need to be the first recorded war, which I think is very subjective. Like, there had to be wars before that. Maybe this is the first well, I guess that's exactly what it says, but the first recorded one that they wrote it somewhere. I think they wrote it on a rock.
Wasn't your dad saying something about like history?
History started with the written word, yeah.
Stuff like that, yeah. Well, so
I
that
mean,
was it. They were just fighting over resources.
So does that count as like cave drawings? The
Yep.
written word.
Yep.
It's written.
I think this was on a rock, literally like carved into a rock, which is ridiculous to me. How can you look at a rock, you see some drawings, and you're like, oh, that's the first ever recorded war right there.
No way.
And then he's like, what? You found it? He's like, yeah, come over here and look. And he comes
Check it
over,
out.
he looks at his shoulder. He's like, we've been looking for that.
I wouldn't say it's just a rock like next to a river. It was probably preserved
cave?
somewhere. Yeah.
They stuck
Yeah,
it.
but
They stuck it in a plastic bag.
Yeah.
And like, God, we've been
The
looking
We
for
gotta
this
save
rock.
this one.
The first person to find that rock. You know, yeah. Like,
The plastic bag had a label on it. They wrote on it the
First
Sharpie.
war.
This is the
Yeah.
first war rock.
Okay.
Look at what washed up last week.
Wish they would have wrote it in pen, but whatever.
But yeah, I don't. That always baffles me, like how history gets passed down. I guess there's people, I don't know what their job title is, that interpret rock writings.
translators.
It's not trans. There's a specific
Paleontologists. What do they
That's
do?
getting closer, but
It's
it's like
Paleontologists.
Archaeologists.
not like
That's
scripts.
bones.
Scripts, I
Bones.
guess, or something like that, where like they interpret hieroglyphics in different languages and stuff like that.
My cousin has a story about this one kid was in his class. This goes back to bones. He has a story about this one kid that was in class, and he said he had cat bones in his closet.
Is his name Jeffrey?
I don't
It's
think
not
so.
great.
And he had a necklace with cat bones on it that he used
Okay.
to wear.
I'd stay far
How
away
long
from that guy.
ago was this?
Well, he was in high school. I mean, probably 10
Oh
years
my
ago.
god, this kid was high school age doing
They
that
were
stuff.
in his high school class. He told him they were in the same class together. And he said this kid had cat bones locked
Where's
in
that guy
his closet.
now? Does he know?
Hopefully behind steel
Yeah,
bars.
Hopefully a long way away.
He's probably
from
he,
the public.
he runs a big cat farm. His name's Joe Exotic.
Yeah. I hope not.
No, it's not. But yeah, I mean, that's one thing to keep in your closet, I guess. Shirts and cat bones, pants.
Almost
Top
anything
3.
else.
I think if there's a Family Feud category, but like, name something you find in your closet. Bing, 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 bing. Cat bones.
Cat bones.
It's number 2.
This is it's an honorary. What is it called? An honorable mention.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot to mention. Remember last week when I was talking about folklore? The word is fable that I was looking for.
Aesop's Fables. Aesop. What is it?
Is that Rocky?
AOSOP or something like that.
Yeah, it's the,
Aesop.
about
Aesop. Yeah.
the donkey and whatever. About you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
No, I do. So I wasn't completely far off with the old McDonald's stuff. The true purpose of war, direct every military operation toward a clearly defined, decisive, and attainable objective. The ultimate military purpose of war is the destruction of the enemy. I
Anima.
struggle with that word. No,
The
enemy.
enema.
The enema. Destruction of the enema. You could be in war with that. The war is the destruction of the enemy's ability to fight and will to fight.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Most of the time, they are a result of disputes over resources and land, or of a government's desire to increase its influence and power. So I think that's leaning more towards like the guys the Hitlers, the Stalins, those fun guys, the Putins of the world.
Well, that's all
Just-
strategy there. I mean,
Strategy or just
you
Takeover strat.
debilitate their
any part of
ability
the
for them
opposition.
to fight back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Even your own people. Anybody who disagreed with you to just
What's the saying? Cut off their,
toes.
cut off their legs.
and it's something like that.
I don't know what.
Maybe cut out their tongue.
There's something like,
The tongue is the most powerful muscle.
no, I can't remember it, but it's like it's a motivational thing that people say, cut off their blank so they can't, I don't know if it's legs or cut them at the, I don't know. Let's
You
forget I
lost
said
me.
that. Yeah. I lost myself too.
You got to find yourself.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people a lot of people go looking for themselves in a lot of places, but they don't ever look for themselves right here.
Now we're getting onto the motivational
Getting onto
topic.
the
Little
philosophy
introspective.
episode.
Yeah, we gotta stay away from. Well, not stay away from, but last week we went on about 20-25 minute topic about life,
Yeah.
just decisions.
I think we do that every time, though.
Just we should have a segment where we talk about here's what our true hearts are feeling right now. Why do people willingly go to war? One of the most common reasons people join the military is because they feel drawn to serving their country. I don't think it used to always be like that.
Definitely not.
Because now people are just like, I'm going to sign up and go be in the military. Whereas back in the day, it's like you had to.
Right.
You're
You don't have
12.
a choice.
Yeah, you're 12. It's like, okay, now you're in the,
Well, that's
you're
what
in the military.
they got drafted back then because there was huge wars. But now these days
Well,
we're not.
I'm
we're
talking
not in
like-
trying times.
Think about like the Spartans.
Yeah, I'm talking like
When
way
you were-
back when.
When you were
Yeah.
12 years old as a man in Greece,
you were
in
trained to be a
Sparta,
soldier.
Yeah, you started training right there.
Oh, they still do that. They still do that.
They put war paint on you out of the womb.
Not about.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's less. It's not about war. But I was listening to Joe Rogan and Eddie Bravo, I think it was, or I think
Oh,
it's Eddie-
Johnny's brother.
Yeah, and he runs 10th Land or something like that. A big jiu-jitsu guy. But it's like in the Philippines and stuff like that. Like they would look at kids and be like, "Okay, you're gonna be a fighter. Like we're gonna train and teach you how to fight because you're gonna go to these tournaments and things like that and just be an ass beater. And that's what you're gonna do for the rest of your life because
Just
that's
be an ass beater. What's your
Just-
title? Ass beater.
well, that's because kickboxing is so big. Like that's like their sport. Like that's like our football. Like that's kickboxing is like Muay Thai. That is their thing over there, and so that's the only source of income.
So
for some of
that's
those
their
people.
NFL.
pretty much.
See, that's kind of what China does, but for professions, I think. So China will, at like 12 years old, be like, okay, you're going to be an engineer now, or you're going to work specifically on this, and you're not going to go to school. You're not going to get all your general studies like we do in the US, where we got to take 7 different classes in high school.
Which is BS.
It's like, hey, you're going to learn about this one thing for the next 7 years.
Because that's what you're good at based on your scores.
It's like, we don't care if you can't read. You're going to look at numbers.
Yeah.
Oh.
The alphabet doesn't matter to you.
Yeah. And then they get to algebra and they're like, all right, you're going to have to read some. But yeah.
Well, that's like I saw something where the algorithm of like, so the TikTok feed for us, like here in America, is totally different compared to what it is like over in China.
Just butts and boobs here.
For here, yeah, it distracts us. It's all butts and boobs. But in China, like all of their TikTok feeds, especially for like the algorithm that they're working with, is all things that guide them toward like a higher learning and a different type of profession. It's all like science based or stuff like that, to where it actually incites thought. And
So that's more of an educational platform for them instead of a.
That is crazy to
Enjoyment.
think about, that TikTok for somebody else is an educational.
I see it, but I see a lot of things on TikTok that are educational.
oh yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
I've made so many meals and recipes off of like food creators on TikTok.
oh yeah, I just saved one today. It was with it's like a bone marrow and butter type chili thing that you put it on shrimp. It fucking looked really good, so I saved it.
Yeah.
Or I saw another TikTok, how to make a long-lasting torch if you're out in the wild. Don't know why I'll ever need to use that. I hope I don't, but I know how if I ever need to.
Will you be able to recall that if you're on the wild and you're like, oh, saw this TikTok?
Hang on a second. Yeah, maybe
And you're with one other person. Like, what do we need to do? Long lasting torch.
I can make one of those.
I saw one about
You know-
giant matches today. It was, this guy broke like 3 boxes of matches. He took the red shit off the top
Yep.
and just clipped it off, ground it down, and then just made
Made a huge one.
big ass match.
Yeah, we're on. I think we all got different feeds. That's what's fun about TikTok.
The algorithm.
Why do people willing to go to the war for serving their country?
Free
This sense of
college.
duty. Yep, free college. This sense of duty or a calling to service can arise from patriotic family values or the desire to do something meaningful. So that's one thing.
A higher purpose.
For me, yeah. Like a lot of people go to the military because they're like, I feel like I'm working for something, like I am
Bigger than
involved.
yourself.
Yeah, right. And I personally would never go in the military ever.
You don't care about anybody else.
No, I'm just soft as dog shit. Like there's no way I would make it.
No, you.
And I'm self-aware enough to know that 6 weeks of basic training, one, I'd probably get kicked out before I quit.
can't quit.
Yeah,
you
would.
signed a contract. You can't say this isn't for me. You're under
Yeah,
contract.
So you
if
just-
they don't kick you out, you're there for 8 weeks.
yeah.
So you just try to get kicked out every day is what I'd probably
Yeah,
try.
like you
Probably not a
gotta
good
pull a
idea either.
gun on somebody or
Yeah,
like grab
yeah.
somebody's butt or something.
well,
you know what I mean?
You're fucked then because
Me
then,
Too movement, yeah.
then you get discharged. So now for the rest of your life, that's on your record.
Discharged from the military.
Dishonorable discharge, yes.
Which and that is not
So I'd try
a
to-
good look.
I'd try to be honorably discharged.
Yeah, like this
Guy
guy
was too
tried
good.
really good.
It's too good for us.
Yeah.
He tried really hard, but he sucks.
So what if I spoon my own eye out?
Huh.
2 weeks
Yeah.
in, I'm like, this ain't for me. They're like, you're stuck. You signed a
You're,
contract. Be like,
you're going with the insanity plea there.
Yeah, that was a lot.
would that be an honorable discharge? I guess it depends if they.
I don't know
doing
what's
that would be-
honorable
That
about
would be medically
scooping your
discharged.
eye into a plate, but
I'd do some David Blaine trickery and it'd be a fake eye. And I have an eye patch.
Really?
What if you showed up to the military with an eye patch, but you had a normal eye?
they're gonna throw you out.
Actually, I heard why pirates actually wear eye patches.
We talked
ahead.
about this.
Did we?
Yes.
I
Well, I
forgot.
mean, we're going to talk about it again.
I forgot.
It's
Yeah.
I
about
think
being below deck versus above deck.
This fucking loser just ruins my story.
I guess
He's
we're not
like,
getting into it.
above deck, below deck. Next topic. I want to talk about war.
Dude, I remember. What do you,
This guy's got a great
dude,
memory.
you think if I remember,
remember
stuff
shit.
from high school that I'm not going to remember what we talked about 6 or 12 weeks ago or whatever?
I don't
it
remember
was?
shit about podcasts.
I don't
man.
remember what we talked about yesterday.
Like last week yesterday. I remember a lot from yesterday. But like last week, Greek mythology. I don't know a ton we talked about.
I remember a lot of dumb shit from freshman year of high school.
You'd be good at like trivia. My dad has this
Yes.
friend, we call him Chip, and he is like knows all these most useless facts ever.
Oh, I'm full of those.
Yeah. It's like, where does it get you besides trivia
Oh,
championships?
Nowhere.
Trivia
But I don't
championship.
choose
Podcast
Though.
host.
I don't choose what I'm good at. I'm just good at a couple of things.
That's fair. That's fair. You just kind of go with what you're given, play the hand you're dealt.
Yeah, exactly. I'm good at this, so I'm going to just ride this as far and as long as I possibly can.
War sharpens experience, heightens perception, and makes one more and more aware of one's own existence. Would you guys say that's true?
I feel like you just told me like a tongue twister or something.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm talking to a recruiter right now because you're making this sound awfully positive.
I used to get texts all the time from recruiters, and obviously I know that's their job, so no, that's fine. I'm not dogging them or anything, but man, they're relentless.
Oh yeah, every week on Facebook Messenger, someone would be saying something like, "Listen, I don't know if this is for me."
Yeah,
And I had gone and talked to a recruiter once. I thought about it.
really.
I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was like, "Well, how about the military?"
So you're about as close out of all three of us to joining.
Oh yeah,
Really,
Way closer than me.
yeah. I went in there
as
because
far away from me as possible.
Yeah, me and my buddy Matt went in there and talked to him, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do, and I was like, maybe give this a shot for a few years.
Would you have been like a frontline stealthy, like going in on missions and stuff, or would you have been like working on things?
No, I would have always wanted to be a sniper, like sit back a little bit, crunch a few numbers, and like just make that
Crunch a few
one-
numbers, like okay, the wind's 7 miles out of the southeast.
It's crazy all the math that goes
Yeah.
into it. I mean, there's slope, there's this, there's wind, there's the spin that comes off of the bullet that adjusts the trajectory over a long period.
Do you think
have
you would
to
have been a good sniper?
I already am. I still am right now.
I think there's another route you could go in that doesn't take 8 weeks, and that's the hitman business.
Boom.
That's
a
illegal.
lot of money.
That's definitely illegal.
You probably
but
get paid more.
actually, but what I mean, well, there's different. Not like saying like they're hitmen, but guys that leave the military after having all kinds of military training. There is like under the table jobs that they can take
And they go
Mercenary.
okay.
with like security and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not
I would
saying-
love to be a sniper. I've never shot like a sniper rifle, but I played enough Call of Duty to know a little bit about like getting my feet wet in it.
almost.
I
the
don't
same.
know if you could play
No, I'm not saying I could do it,
enough
but it's
Call
like
of Duty to get your feet wet in the sniper business.
yeah, but I'm saying I'm closer to walking in there and saying, "Hey, teach me how to snipe," compared to someone that's never played Call of Duty.
I think you're about at the same level.
I don't think so.
Are there real life quick scopers?
Absolutely not.
Definitely not.
Really?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That is the most
So that's
absurd thing.
So that's video game heavy. That's one thing I didn't know. Why couldn't you though?
So the fact that you're asking
Why
me this
would you?
question,
It's not why couldn't you? Why would you?
Well, it's just like if there was let's say they're using rubber bullets and it's like a 5v5 in real life quick scoping.
see, this guy's already comparing it to Call of Duty again. Search and destroy or some shit.
No, I'm just saying, why can't you quick scope in real life? Like,
Why?
Have you ever brought a scope up to your eye before on a rifle?
no.
Okay, there you go.
That answers everything. Okay, listen,
yeah.
next weekend I'll take you out shooting, and
Let's go to Spartan.
It's not like you
Firearms.
bring the scope
No.
up and it's just a
Fuck
clear
that.
vision. If you're off by that much, the scope is fucked.
okay, so you know that.
So it's
have you
not as
seen
wide as it is in video games.
No,
No,
it's not.
It's not the entire TV screen. Like so, you know a scope. You've seen a scope,
Yes.
so it has a front and a back.
Yep.
If those don't line up perfectly, then it looks like this when you're looking through it.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the circles
So-
don't line up.
So it's not 2D.
It's, yeah, like
Okay.
you'll only see like that, right? If you're not lined up, like you'll see half of the front circle and a quarter of the back.
See, yeah. Not
That's
a
what,
hunter.
that's what I'm
so
saying.
This
Like,
makes sense.
for you to ask,
well, for someone that's never looked through a rifle, is it a crazy question?
No,
absolutely,
I won't. I mean, no, because you
for
don't know.
someone to never look through a rifle and say they'd be all right at it, that's
No, I didn't say I'd be alright. I'd say
Yes.
I'd have my feet wet into knowing terminology and stuff. Not like I could get up and shoot my neighbor down the road. I couldn't hit that. I could maybe hit my garage from here.
I'm gonna warn your neighbors.
Why? They're not going to get hit.
might
I
be
can't
right.
hit them.
Maybe you just put yourself on a list there. For that
That's
statement.
all right.
The ATF.
I'd like to shoot a gun, but I don't really have the need to ever.
You've never shot a gun.
Right before, no. Have I?
You have to think about
I
it.
will take you out. Not next weekend because
I don't know if I have. I don't think
busy.
I have.
But
But we were talking about this before we started recording. When you asked me if I owned a gun,
Yeah.
and I said no, I own an axe and 2 pocket knives.
And you said it was more fun to mutilate somebody versus
No,
just
but you
shoot
said-
them once.
you said that's a lot harder, and I said, but it's a lot more fun. I've never killed anybody.
So
there's nothing.
he is like Jeffy.
That's a lot. Yeah.
It's a joke.
It's more fun to just slash somebody up with an axe
right.
than it is to
for the
just shoot
plot-
them once. And
yeah,
put
but
them
for
out.
the plot, like if they were making a movie,
Dude,
the-
but they're not
they're
making a
not.
movie. We're talking about somebody breaking into your house.
I
And
thought someone did the other day.
yeah, it's probably me. I know the code to your doors.
Yeah, I know, but I was actually woke up on Saturday morning and my room is very dark. The door was closed in my room, and I heard, and it was only when I closed my eyes that I could hear it. I'd open my eyes, didn't hear anything. So I think my brain was playing tricks on me. But
no. That's a real thing.
and I was like, I swear to God, someone just opened the door. It was a little sketchy.
So the less you focus on other senses,
The more heightened the other ones
Yeah.
are.
yeah,
Really, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
like Daredevil from the Marvel comics and movies and all that.
Yeah. Do you guys sleep with weapons near your bed?
Yes,
Yes.
Which ones?
I have a pistol and a knife.
I have a pistol and a shotgun.
Okay. How close? Could you arm's length
Yes.
The pistol
under
I
your bed?
could, yeah,
In the drawer.
on top of the nightstand.
yeah.
Really?
The pistol,
Like if I'm sleeping, I could do this and grab it.
yeah, same. And then
I'd-
the shotgun
okay.
is in the closet, which is about 2 steps.
So I have a pocket knife in the drawer and a water bottle on top. So I'd probably have to squirt him in the eyes first, open the drawer, and then grab the knife.
Throw a little
You're
sand
so
in his eyes real
screwed,
quick.
pal.
Yeah. So
Pocket sand. That's you.
Pocket
you.
sand.
That's you.
I would have to pocket sand intruder. But
you would, because you want them to fight you with an axe.
one time I was
What if they
sleeping
break into your house with a gun?
and they were doing road construction. Oh, well then I'm dead. But throwing knives.
Okay, Deadpool.
The only
The
advantage you have is that you lived in this house and you know where stuff is.
Yeah, and they don't unless they've been casing the joint. I love saying that.
in the joints.
Some LA Noir type shit.
I love saying that. It was like, let's case the joint. They're in a jewelry heist.
He just,
Oh,
he
yeah.
thought he was on a CSI episode right there.
God, I've been waiting to use that term for so long.
Jason, did I ever tell you? Did I tell you that story about my journeyman that when we broke into a thermostat that one time?
Into a
told me.
thermostat?
We were
You told me.
We-
This
so-
is so funny.
so In all the schools, they're like all the thermostats have plastic covers on them that are locked, so the kids can't fuck with them.
Yeah.
So we're going through and we're replacing all the thermostats. And so we get into the
Like
bathroom.
just the thing that you touch.
On the
That's what
wall.
you're replacing?
Yes, the
Okay.
controller.
the thermostat.
There you go.
Yes.
But they're covered with cases, so
Yeah.
the kids can't fuck with them. So we're going through, and he doesn't have the key for this thing, and we got to get the cover off the wall so we can replace it. And he's like, "All right, whatever." And so he grabs his pair of linesmen. It's like a big pair of pliers,
Yep.
and he looks at me because we don't have the key, and he just takes it, just smashes the plastic, and just breaks it and shatters. And then he looks back and he goes, "We're in." We're in. Like it was some giant heist. Just
Like you just
crushed.
tripped the security system.
Yeah. We're in.
We're in. We've got 60
I
seconds.
love that story so
Dude,
much.
I laughed so hard.
Was that Colin?
That was Colin,
dude.
We're in. Like Shields calling?
No.
You don't know.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. I want to case a joint one day. Like I just want to.
you
I
could
wish you could.
case any
No, I
joint.
wish you could sign up for like practice heists.
It's called
Like where it's just for
escape
fun.
room.
Yeah, but that's not the same. That's a good business idea.
An
An escape room, but you plan like a heist, and then the one side's like cops and
You
FBI
gotta
investigators
beat
and everything,
Are you gonna do it?
and then the other side is like they have to. That would actually.
That's not a
Hey,
bad.
Nathan, write that down. Write that down.
You better rip a patent
Copyright
real quick.
Three Dudes podcast.
Yeah.
Nobody else takes that idea.
3 dudes heist.
Yeah, cut that off.
Yeah. But let's get back into war a little bit. The equipment used in war. So we're going to go over the evolution of war. And as we're going through this to kind of talk about how it's transformed a little bit, we'll touch on some wars. So we're going to start with the Revolutionary War. Obviously, I know there were wars before that, but that's where we're going to start because
I didn't.
You didn't know there were wars before that?
Yeah, I thought that was the first war ever.
Nope. First one in America,
It's like the first one that mattered.
I guess. Well, ask the people before that if their wars mattered.
Yeah.
Ask Sumar and Elam.
I guess. I mean, that's a big question. If the war
First war.
matters.
I
I
mean,
mean, that's
did it?
war never changes.
It's
I mean,
true.
We won that war and then ran the world.
So the Revolutionary War bridged the gap between the hand-to-hand combat of the medieval era. So I guess there's some wars in the medieval era.
The middle of
Oh,
the
yeah.
evil shit.
Yeah.
Two-handed swords and axes. Yeah. That was a crazy
All the
time.
battle axes.
Swords akimbo. They were going.
Maybe. I mean, it depends on where you're at. Well, like the Hoostfest is in town. Do you remember that? You ever been there?
I actually haven't been.
To the medieval era.
Maybe at some point if you believe in reincarnation.
We'll talk about time travel and we'll talk about going back to
Yeah.
the medieval era
But at the Hoostfest, they have like two Vikings fighting each other like every
with
day.
real swords.
Real swords and shields and
Like
chainmail.
chainmail?
Yeah, and they're covered. Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, they do it. Yeah, I don't know if they still do it, but I remember back in high school, we took a tour there and they were seriously fighting. They're breaking their wooden shields and doing crazy shit. I was like,
So they had metal swords and wooden shields
it's
or
all,
wood.
yeah, no, it's all serious. Yeah, except they're not like legit trying to kill each other.
I was gonna say, where do you
It's
draw
like
the
LARPing.
line here?
It's like LARPing
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I have.
with cooler shit.
There's some people on this neighborhood that I think LARP.
Dude, there's so many people in this town that I look at and go,
Isn't it funny? You can look at people and be like, they might live action role play from time to time.
Maybe. Can you?
Which means LARPing,
I mean,
but-
now that you're thinking about it, would you consider people that play paintball LARPers?
kind of, yeah.
Now that you
Honestly,
you
yeah,
really
they're
put
like,
that
they're like
question?
gun LARPers. So like if
Gun
I
LARPers.
so if I start this heist company, if we started 3 Dudes Heist, would that be like heist LARPing?
it would. I mean, in definition, live action role playing.
Yeah.
You're playing the role
And like
of
they got to
someone
beat the time to
Dude,
until the
LARPing-
cops get there.
LARPing can be a lot of things.
that's- yeah.
Could be so much.
So if we play like
It's like you're gonna go underwater and
If we
live
go play-
action role play. If you don't get above water, you're gonna die.
if we go play catch of the football outside, are we NFL LARPing?
Could be.
I think to a percentage. Yeah.
Cool.
You make a point. Cool. This guy's like, oh, it's Tom Brady. when I
Yeah,
was younger.
honestly, that's awesome. Most of the land battles were fought with soldiers lining up across from each other in fields where they would fire at one another, usually at a range of 100 yards. This always fascinated me that was even a thought that's like, hey, how are we going to do this war? We're going to just line up and shoot at each other.
We're gonna wait.
Because in my mind, and maybe that's because it's recency bias and I was born when this wasn't a thing, I feel like as you grow up and you think about if someone's like, hey, how do you want to do this war? the first thing I'd think of is like, I got to be a little bit sneaky. I don't just want to let them shoot at me.
That's different guerrilla warfare. Well, that's different because those are different tactics. I don't know if you got that.
I
in
think
there.
that started.
It is,
during
it's next. But how is guerrilla warfare not the first strategy anyone ever thought of for war?
I think it's about
It was
your
probably the
manhood.
first.
No,
No.
You don't think it was? Well, no, I
dude,
mean, not
they
the first,
ran
but-
at each other in open fields.
They didn't even run into it. They
Not-
would.
Well, we did, but
No, I'm talking about like even with the swords and stuff.
well then, but it
There
and
was
then-
not much sneakiness going on.
No, it was just I'm gonna run at you with my weapon and be better than you.
And
because-
before that, before they even ran at each other, I guess in like medieval times they would do that, but like
Yeah.
Revolutionary
that was the-
War
that was the only choice
specific,
they had.
100 yards, they would line up 100 yards and just stop and be
they
like,
would march up and be like, ready, aim, fire.
Yeah.
The next people behind them would go,
They
ready,
duck.
aim, fire.
yeah, they duck, start
Yeah.
reloading their 18-minute reload, and then they would shoot them again.
Yeah, they'd have like a monster energy in between and be like, oh, I'm fucking ready for this shit.
Yeah.
Have a little shot of tea.
Yeah.
And that's just, I don't like the thought process behind that. Why would you not, the first person to
Why
come up
did
with
it-
the army of the
Yeah.
United States, they just thought this is a good idea.
Why did it take so long for you guys to decide that?
Implement guerrilla warfare.
Yeah. Let's
That'd be
be a
my
little bit sneaky and just like stab this guy in his throat from behind.
That'd be my first thing. But maybe the first Revolutionary Warists were just a bunch of idiots.
That's when it
Maybe
started,
there
right?
was just a level of respect about it.
That's what it was. It
Maybe
was like,
maybe
we're
maybe because
men.
they knew that we really don't want to kill each other, but we can't find an agreement. So we're just gonna shoot at each other until someone dies.
May the best man win.
Yeah.
That makes it seem so honorable.
And that's what it was. I think that's why they did that, is because it was
Yeah.
honorable to go out there and be like, I could die right now out in the open. And
But I'm choosing to fight for what I believe in.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe they were less scared of death than me. If I was to start my own army right now and I knew all these people, like, I don't want to die. Let's do it so we minimize our chances of dying.
and so you decided guerrilla warfare. You would be
Yeah.
that guy because
Mhm.
you are scared of dying.
Yeah. And seems logical.
Oh, there's
Yeah,
nothing
I mean,
wrong
yeah.
with that. Like
That's
that's,
what you-
I think that's like the basic
Yeah.
human thought is like, what do I have to do to survive?
So they used muskets. They were long barreled, 42 inches. And then they had a bayonet at the end. Now, some people say the bayonets were optional. Can you imagine being one of the guys that's like,
I'm good.
I don't need it. I plan on dying.
No,
First
thanks.
shot that hits me. I'm gonna fall over, pretend to be dead. Call it a day. I wonder if there are a lot of pretend deaths where they're like, maybe I'm just a coward. Maybe this is me going back to not ever wanting to join the military.
What about like getting shot in the leg and it's not fatal?
Forrest Gump got shot in the
back
ass.
then.
But like
everything
back
was
then,
fatal.
yeah, but like it, like you
got
get
hit in the
shot in the
arm,
leg and
yeah.
it's like that's not really a problem. And then all of a sudden, like 2 weeks later, you were fighting for your life in a bed.
Yeah, you get shot in like
You
the
know what I mean?
forearm, and then you go to the doctor. You're golfing. You get
Somebody
shot
hits you
though.
with the 4-iron.
You go
Oh,
to the-
fuck me to tears.
What do you call it? The infirmary, the place that
Yes.
you go.
yeah,
And the doctor just looks at you like, poof, good luck with the next 2 weeks of your life.
you
That's
got
what
shot
you got.
in the
Yeah.
shin. Well, your leg from your
Nothing's
nuts
gone.
down is done.
Yeah, and
for.
then
They just start sawing.
How do we solve it, doc? Wooden
like-
leg
And he goes, drink this half bottle of bourbon.
and chew on
And
this
that's how
shirt.
we solve it.
Yeah. Drink this and bite down on this stick very hard because this is gonna hurt. And then they start sawing your leg off.
Dude, do you think if somebody was sawing on your leg and they put a rock in your mouth, you could bite through it?
No.
Oh, I
'cause
think your tooth would shit.
your teeth-
Ugh. I don't even like
Rock is
thinking
harder
about
than
that.
your
I don't like teeth, man. Ugh.
You don't like
I mean,
teeth?
just
I broke a tooth and like had it hanging from my mouth, man. It's disgusting.
that's right. You did that in junior hockey, didn't you?
Yeah, and I just I can't even think about like I'm really bad with bones.
It
and
is
teeth.
really hard for me to believe that you used to be like a really good athlete.
right? This physique doesn't lead
Like,
on to that.
You played
surprised.
a sport at a higher level than most people do.
Yeah, my body was once a temple.
And it's not your physique, it's
It's now a wigwam.
God.
That's all right. So yeah, they did that, and then once they were, I don't know if they were like when they were out of gunpowder and bullets. They didn't even shoot bullets. They were just circle rocks.
It was just balls.
They'd run at each other with bayonets, stab each other.
after they were out.
Yep. The British forces were actually trained not to aim their muskets before firing. So they were real life quickscopers.
I think is it because of the smooth bore on the guns? So
No.
like you couldn't decide.
It was for efficiency and speed. They wanted them to get as many shots off as possible. They'd line up, do their whatever, stick their
What are they
rods
doing?
in there. They'd stick the
yeah,
rods
do
and
that
load.
again,
They'd
do that again.
They'd load the gun.
For those of you not watching,
He's
They'd
loading
load
that thing
This
up.
is a stick
Yeah.
here,
He might be
Easton
unloading
is
it pretty soon.
hammering the end of the musket.
and then they'd stick it in there, pick it up, shoot, and just go at it again.
Yeah.
And it was all about speed and efficiency.
I think another thing about that was maybe it was later on, but because it was a smooth bore with a smooth
What is a
ball,
bore?
So so the bore is the inside of the rifle.
Okay.
So
like the barrel.
Oh, so it wasn't like
It wasn't
rifled
grooved.
is what that's called.
Rifled, okay.
Rifled. So when you
Yeah.
rifle the barrel, so that's when they cut spiral into the inside of the barrel and it spins. It would have been back then. It would have
Yeah.
been the ball. Now it's the bullet.
Think about like a
And
so
makes
it comes
more
out like
accurate.
a Tim Wakefield knuckleball
no
No,
with the
it's
musket
with
it did.
with no bore in it, or with a smooth bore.
with no rifling, smooth
Yes.
bore.
So when you think
Ah.
about like the boring of the rifle, when they did that, it's like the guy who threw the first like curveball. He projected the
Yeah.
spin on it and he knew what would happen. So you
Yeah.
could calculate it because it's spinning a certain way that you know what's going to happen.
So the bullet with the rifled barrel spins the bullet so you know where it's going.
It's
Yeah,
going to go.
It makes it more accurate.
Yes.
There's a scientific. They have it all down to like
It's
a
like
ratio.
a spiral on a football. You throw this
Okay.
football with a spiral.
So Tim Wakefield was the first smooth bored rifle.
Tim Wakefield
picture.
almost de-revolutionized the spin of a thing
Revolutionized.
because he put no spin on it again, and nobody knew what the hell was going on. And that guy
I
just.
think he went out there in a revolutionary. He was LARPing on the mount. He was wearing.
And
one of
if you
those.
don't know who Tim Wakefield is, he's probably the best knuckleballer of all time in the MLB.
What about
He
was it R.A. Dickey?
Ari Day,
He's
okay.
up there, but there's
He's-
only like 10 of them
Tim Wakefield is the best. Ari Dickey is
for
maybe
sure. The best.
more notable just because he went through some shit.
All right, I knew that was going to happen.
Besides muskets and bayonets, artillery was another primary weapon of the war. Cannons, mortars, and howitzers were the primary artillery methods.
That's
So-
nuts.
I was gonna bring that up. Like I've seen videos of guys launching mortars, and they just like stamp it, throw it in there, and then they just turn around and do this, and it goes. Whoop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yep, like into the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. Those are like the newer age ones. The
Yeah.
old ones, I can't even imagine. Those just must have been ass. Like, I wonder if they're like any duds or just like,
Because like, and then you go further, and it's a cannon. Like at least the mortar explodes right on impact, but the cannon it just hits you like if somebody threw a big rock at you.
Dude, oh,
You know what I mean?
harder than that.
imagine standing next to your buddy and you're on the front line and you just see him standing flat and then his arms and legs go forward and he goes flying back. He just gets hit with the cannonball.
That's what I mean.
I think I don't know how fast it's going, but
Does it go through you?
dude,
100% it's got to.
yeah.
If I threw
Imagine a can't dude, and like
A
they're
bowling
like this
ball.
Yeah.
fucking big that going through your chest. Or there's that picture. There's an old picture somewhere where I think a cannonball ripped through someone's like metal armor they were wearing. It was
Nathan,
just
can you look
nuts.
up cannonball wound?
He's gonna pull it up.
Yeah. So that's what I'm curious about. If it goes through you or if it just kind of hits you and you go.
I think no
it's
matter
traveling
what
so
happens,
fast. You're
So
No
if it
matter-
hits you in the head, are you then now like a headless
you're
horseman?
deceased.
yeah.
A
There it is.
cannonball wound.
Oh wow,
a
yeah,
chest
it goes
plate?
right through you.
Yeah.
It doesn't give a shit.
I guess they're coming at you pretty fast. They're not like lobbing them like
It's not
shot put.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it's through. It's out of a cannon.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. But
It's a gun, but with a huge ass bullet.
yeah, they should do that. They should have done more of those. Let's move on to the Civil War. The American Civil War brought with it new tactics and equipment that were made the deadliest conflict in U.S. history. This is when trench warfare started to take a larger role. And it's kind of trench foot. I want to get in trench foot because I think trench foot's wild.
Is that when trench foot became a thing? Was the
World
Civil
War.
The Civil War. That's what
It
you
was
said.
mainly World War One, but we'll get to it when we get to World War One because that's when it's mainly talked about. But trench warfare, that's kind of when it started to take a larger role. Was
was
in
the
Civil War.
1860s.
Yes,
Really? I didn't know that until you just said that. I thought it was bigger in the World Wars.
Honestly, I think I know it's big in World War One for sure.
Yeah.
The Civil War almost seems too early for it.
That's
Was
what I
it?
mean. Like,
Maybe I put it in the wrong
never
spot
heard
for
about,
research, but-
trench foot and trench warfare. Trench foot. But
That
I
is a
never
thing.
heard
That's a
about
thing.
that when learning about the Civil War in
Yeah.
high school.
I didn't either,
whatever.
so I might have put that note in the wrong spot. But one of the most famous field guns was the Napoleon. a French-made bronze 12-pounder. I don't know what a 12-pounder is, but
Big old steak.
could be.
Probably just like an old flintlock
Yeah.
pistol or something.
Yeah.
Because this was all before they had.
It's a
actual
field gun,
bullets.
so I think it's like a.
Was the Gatling gun around?
No, this
then?
is real bullets.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, the Gatling guns right here. The Gatling gun was perhaps the most famous innovation during this war, as it was the only way for an army to shoot a high rate of fire on an enemy over an extended period.
Only reason I remember that is playing Red Dead Redemption.
What does the Gatling gun look like?
It's like a
It's like
spiral.
a giant revolver. It is a circle made up of whatever it was, like 8 or 12 barrels, and you'd spin a handle on the side.
Okay, so that's the
It's got
one.
a
It's-
red-
And then every time,
Okay, that's what I
every
was
time
thinking.
you spun it, it would just reload automatically.
Yeah,
When it got back to the same spot.
because I think about that, but then I always mix that up with like a modern day turret.
Way different.
Yeah, but
That's
that's kind of
about-
like the first turret.
It's almost the same thing.
It's
Yes,
the first
100%.
generation turret. Yeah,
Like a very
but
I
now
hate
there's only
when-
one barrel.
I hate in video games when you have it, you get the turret's kill streak and they just carry that around like in their backpack.
like the death machine.
I haven't played the most recent to even know what that is. The turrets where you run
The
around and
death
you set them
machine?
down. And it's like
Oh, the sentry turret.
Yeah,
I was thinking
yeah.
about like you ever played like Call of Duty?
that's the one you
Zombies?
hold at the hip, right? The death machine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
No,
about.
I'm thinking about the one with the tripod legs. You just set it down.
That's
It's
the
like they're
sentry
running
turret,
around
the
the,
sentry
map.
gun?
Because it's sentry.
Sentry gun.
the
Stays
5
in
kill
one place.
streak.
Yeah.
MW2. You said that.
One of my favorites because I can never get to the big ones with like the actual like helicopters and AC-130s and that. So I
Oh,
just
dude,
get all
I
the
only got
like,
my
yes,
own
UAV.
nuke.
Let's ride.
Yeah,
Wow.
UAV care package and Harriers.
Oh, I'm not saying I was the best, but I grabbed
I
a couple
only
nukes in my
got
day.
a nuke 2 times. I remember them both playing MW2.
Dude, there was nothing like prime MW2.
I got
The
two of
only
them.
thing that
Cheated for both of
compares-
them.
I
Me and
hate
Bart's were on opposite teams and we just tack insurgent.
Well, then you didn't
Kill.
get them.
Well, I got them, but they're fake ones.
No, I legitimately got 2 of them playing MW2. I was never that great at
Yeah.
video games.
Oh yeah, I wasn't.
What
great.
are the Black Ops? The ones, the little thing you throw in the air. It's like a plane.
Oh, like the Hunter Killer, Black Ops 2?
Hunter Killer. That's what it's called. The Hunter Killer drone.
And you could get a swarm of them.
Yeah.
And it was like dogs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty sweet. That's like those aren't real, obviously.
Well,
They could be.
be
You don't know
sweet.
what
Very
the
well could be.
government's keeping from us.
That's
True,
Didn't
but
we
you
just
don't
talk
see
about
like
that?
you don't see the Ukraine and Putin and them. You just run
I don't
around
think
and just
you
take
see-
it, chuck it in the air.
80% of what's going on in Ukraine right now.
No, because I don't look for it. World
Even
War
if you
One.
looked for it.
World War One is so deadly that on the first day of the Battle of the Somme,
Yep,
Somme,
yep.
Somme,
So,
the British had almost 60,000 casualties.
holy shit. One day,
Yeah.
24 hours.
World War One, I believe this is in the right spot. I kind of threw this in off my own knowledge, but the shot heard around the world. Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Is this
Yeah.
what started World
That
War
was
One? Correct.
Paul Revere, I thought.
Paul Revere
No,
was the
no, no, I'm thinking-
Revolutionary War.
No, I'm thinking the
British
the
are
shot
coming, the British
heard
are-
around the world was the Revolutionary War, like the first
Oh
battle.
yes.
Of like,
So different name. I think about that in my head. This is the shot heard around the world because it started the World War One. But the shot heard around the world was when the Tea
Gavrilo
Party and-
Princip.
Yeah, Gavrilo Princip. I have a hard drive for all this video footage, actually where the podcast footage goes, and it's named Gavrilo Princip. All my hard drives are named after assassins.
And I know
John
that
Wilkes
you
Booth.
know that.
John Wilkes Booth, Michael Ray, something killed Martin Luther King, and Lee Harvey Oswald.
There you go.
Yep, those are all my hard drives.
Why did I blank on that? I feel like
Why?
an idiot.
Why?
'cause?
I don't know. I was thinking what to name, like Star Wars things, assassins.
This guy is so stupid. But
Cut there.
when it comes to assassins and stuff like that,
Oh, the Black
he
Hand
will,
group.
yeah, he will just rattle them off
Just
to you.
knows.
Dude, let's
Yeah.
do an episode on that.
Assassins?
Yes.
That's sick.
We can talk about Assassin's Creed.
And then
That was
people
a
like that.
Great
yeah,
game.
you could just rip for an hour while me and him go there, are sitting here just going
Assassin's Creed.
Did you see the new one?
I didn't.
in Japan.
I've
It's in
seen the
Japan.
trailer,
Japan
but
one.
my story with Assassin's Creed is when I first came out, the Prime, when I used to play it,
Yeah.
I was probably 10, 12, 13 years old, whatever.
Yep.
And I had been playing in my bedroom in a chair, huge TV screen, completely black in there. I had been playing for I don't know how many hours in a row, but
All of
so
them.
long that I got up, and I used to do this because I used to have low iron, and I walked into the living room, super bright in there, started walking, walked up the stairs, like passed out, like my eyes get all fuzzy, fell halfway down the stairs, laying on the floor. My sister came out.
This happened when I was with you one time.
Yes. My sister came out and she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I think I just fell down the stairs. She's like, how did you fall down the stairs? I'm like, I have no idea. Like my room was really dark.
I remember specifically going over to his house when we were in middle school, and we would be playing till 2 a.m. or something like that.
Always.
And he like got up. He's like, I'm gonna go get us some sodas or something like that. You know what I mean?
It happened all the time, man.
And he would go up the stairs, and like you would hear a thud, and like he would fall back a couple stairs. And it's like, what's going on? He goes, nah,
No idea. And
That was always the answer.
We chalked it up to low iron. That's what my doctor ended up saying. But it used to happen all the time when I was younger. If I got up too fast, I would start walking somewhere and I'd have to grab something and lean on it until my brain made sure it was still working. And I just like had to hold on to the kitchen table or something because I would fall over if I didn't.
It's like, do you remember when you passed out backwards and folded like a lawn chair
At the spot?
At the spot.
Yeah. That was
recent.
This was within
last fall.
Yeah, like a year.
Really?
It was due to nicotine. I'm not a big, I don't use nicotine. Here and there, maybe like if I'm drunk or something. But
he asked for a pouch.
It was the first time I've ever had a Zyn. I put a Zyn in, and I was like, I never had one before.
It's
and
so funny.
I got so hot.
Yeah.
So hot. Like I felt like I was just sweating to beat fuck. And I leaned up against the pool table. Like I was standing, my legs were still on the ground. I locked my knees and my butt was on the pool table.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for my turn and I'm like lightheaded. I had to be just white as a ghost.
You want to know how fucked up he was?
I had one drink.
He is telling the not true story because I was there with him.
Well, let's hear the true story.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell my story, what I think it was. I am laying there and then I'm waiting for my shot and I just fell backwards, hammered my head on the pool table, the middle of it, which is a concrete pool table. Woke up, Broden had to like slap me to wake me up.
Oh man, it got way worse. So yeah, we're playing.
What's the true story? That's got to be relatively close.
It's close. It's in the ballpark. I'll say it's not close.
Okay. Well,
so
let the people know.
We're playing pool, and we ordered some drinks. And you were trying to play a song on your phone, and I remember exactly what song it was.
Oh, I don't remember that much. Was it What's New Pussycat?
Yeah, it was actually. It was by Tom
remember
Jones.
that because we would go to the
night.
It is. No, we went to because were we at the spot?
Yes.
And we ripped
that's
that
a
song.
different night. I meshed those two nights together. But I remember you were on Touch Tunes trying to play a song, and you had backed up from your shot because you didn't make it at the pool table.
I was trying to play it off so much. Like, I'm not the most fucked up person here. And I definitely was off this nicotine.
And so, like, maybe 5 minutes before that happened, he was like, hey, will you actually give me one of those? Like, that sounds nice. I was like, yeah, sure, fuck it.
No, I remember you asked me, like, you want a Zen? And I was like, sure. Like, played it off. Like, I've done this before.
That's what I mean.
Cool.
Yeah.
I asked you if you wanted one, and you had told me no about twice. And I asked you a third time. I was like, hey, do you want one?
Shitty friend. Peer pressure me.
I didn't peer pressure.
Come on, take one.
God, all the cool.
I feel terrible now, but it's like,
look at you.
Like we were both intoxicated.
No, I had literally one beer. 1 or 2 beers.
That's not true.
100% it is. Because I was only there for like a half hour, bro.
No,
100%.
No, we weren't.
I swear on God. And we can...
One of us passed out and almost died, and one of us remembered what happened.
I passed out because of the nicotine. I literally had 1 beer. And then
you didn't.
And then I had to call my mom to come pick me up, bro.
I had to call your mom.
Yes, we called, whatever. My mom showed up.
That's what I'm saying.
Who cares who called her?
I literally had to call your mom and say, hey, he just...
We'll ask PD now because PD now showed up. I swear to God, I had 2 beers max.
Did. And anyways, so you passed out and you flopped over the pool table, like folded backwards in half.
Yeah, black.
And I started laughing at you because you only did that, what I was thinking, because that guy walked up to you with your drink saying, that'll be $5.50 or whatever. And I was like, oh, this guy's just playing it off because like that's really
thought I was doing it
expensive
to
for
exaggerate.
drink. Yeah. I was like, that's really expensive for a drink. So I'm laughing at him and he's over there just doing this. And I start smacking him and he's just
out cold.
Yeah. Out cold.
Out cold.
And Finally, after a little bit, he goes,
God, I felt like I was in fucking 500 blankets on me.
it's really hot in here. And he rips off his sweatshirt. And he is red. Dude, he is red. And then all of a sudden, he rips off his sweatshirt. And he's white as a ghost. I'm like, you're not okay. Like, something's going on here. So I called his mom. I was like, hey, Mrs. Bennett, you got to... I'm not going to reveal her name on the podcast.
It's okay.
And nice. I'm like, you have to come pick him up. Like,
He's like, what happened?
He just punted his head off the pool table.
And I didn't realize that was the cause of the pass. Like, I thought I had just done that. I thought it was the iron thing, like how I used to pass out as a kid. Yeah. And then like 3, 4, 5 months later, we talked about it. Like, oh, yeah, that's Zin. I was like, oh my God, that's was it.
What it was. It was a Zinobon.
He was like, couldn't figure Zinobon. Yeah. I couldn't figure it out for the longest time.
It's nicotine.
So yeah, and ever since then, I've never chewed. I've never done any more pouches. I'm like, that's not even worth it. I just pass out every time.
Dude, it's happened to me before I got seasoned into it.
Yeah.
I will never forget that. Smacking, dude, because it sounded like somebody threw a cinder block off
well, it's concrete. It's a concrete pool table. My thin little skull just slammed into it.
And then,
that was a good time. But so the shot heard around the world, Gabriel Princip. The total war for World War I, how many people do you think died?
For World War
total? Yep.
20 million.
That's too high. That's a lot.
That's
a lot of people.
Jesus. I'll go with like 4 million.
8.5. So we'll wiggle that right there in the middle, which is still a lot. Hiram Maxim developed the first machine gun in 1884, but the gun was not widely used until World War I, when forces on both sides started using several similar designs. Trench warfare made the flamethrower especially attractive to German and Allied forces.
That's crazy.
That's crazy to me, the flamethrower.
Yeah.
When they were just shooting that stuff off. Do you guys remember that? And I hate to relate it to another video game, but World at War, when you went on the beach in, like, I think it was the Philippines.
Yeah.
And you got the flamethrower and you would just light the forest on fire.
Just torch everything. That's how it was.
And they would shoot like...
Bro, let's talk into the mic a little bit more.
100...
There we go.
Sorry. Hey.
Well, just pull it over here when you're looking this way. I know it's like...
Well, I'm trying to talk to both of you.
I want the people to hear us, man.
Okay,
these are good stories.
But it's like, you would shoot that thing, you would pull a trigger, and just fire would shoot out from your
But it had
nozzle.
a bar.
Yeah.
And then it would run out. And you're like, God, I got to wait to burn people again.
So like now I'm
this is the worst.
relating from the video game, but it's like, that's actually how it was. Like you would just pull a trigger and flame would shoot out of your weapon like 100 feet in front of you.
Which is
it would incinerate everything.
Yeah.
So crazy. And the reason they did that is because it wouldn't structurally damage the trenches. So they could kill the people in the trenches, but they wouldn't screw up the trenches.
Yeah.
That is nuts.
Yeah. So if I shot a cannonball in there, it might kill people, but it's also going to screw up the trenches. We can't use them anymore. So they'd run in there.
So like if you were to move up and take over their trenches,
the
flamethrower would allow you to do that.
It's like, we killed everyone and we still got their trench. So that was actually the reasoning behind why they use the flamethrowers.
Could you imagine?
And because it's bad, and because it's badass. How sick would it be to be walking around with just a because I picture it as like a thing under your arm here with like a handle on top, and then it's kind of like a reverse firefighter.
Yeah.
Instead of putting out a fire with water, you're just shooting fire on it.
A life fighter.
Yeah, I guess it would be that actually. But yeah, firefighter or flamethrower. I want to use one. I wonder if they're readily available for people to like. Could I go to a shooting range and just be like, fire flamethrower, please?
You could go to a
Could
place.
you put some trees up for me?
And they walk you into a room and here's everything you can burn. It's kind of like those smash rooms where you can go smash a bunch of shit. It's like just burn stuff.
Do you guys know we have a smash room here?
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called the smash room.
It's way up north on the north side of town.
Just opened a few months ago.
Did not know we had.
You want to go do it?
I really want to.
Vlog it for the Three Dudes YouTube channel?
Bingo.
I'm going to lose my mind.
The three of us could make people question why they watch our podcast after seeing that.
I want you to underhand toss me a mug, and I just want to hit that thing 340.
I want to throw a fine china plate at a wall as hard as I can.
Some vlogs and stuff. The Germans launched 150 tons of chlorine gas into the lines of 2 French colonial divisions, causing one of the most well-known and brutal parts of World War I to begin. That would be the poisonous gas.
Yep.
Mustard gas.
Mustard gas. I was just going to say, what do you think the most popular one was?
Yep. texted Nathan earlier while we were filming. That's what I've been on my phone about. There's with the tactics of war and different things like that. There was a bunch of different stuff. There was like when they would drop the gas and when they wouldn't drop the gas, like when they would put on their mask and stuff like that, or they would do stuff when they put on the mask, like the different shit that they thought about that was so morbid. And it's just crazy.
It's so, I think the most badass looking people from photos of the World Wars was the people with the huge ass gas masks.
Like the tripod mask.
Yeah.
Like it was their nose and like
and
the
it's
two
like,
mouthfuls.
they look like Chernobyl people.
What did you just say?
Chernobyl?
No.
Chernobyl. So I'm sorry. Jesus, don't
share.
The singer?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I heard.
I don't know.
You said Chernobyl.
Didn't you watch the documentary on
No.
HBO?
We've talked about this like 3 or 4 times on the podcast.
And you keep saying, I'm going to watch that.
Yeah,
And
sorry.
apparently you haven't.
Remind me off of the podcast, maybe.
We have been.
You've never texted me and said, hey, remember that documentary we talked about?
Watch that.
We talked about it on here. I forget everything we
Dude,
talked
go
about.
back and watch the podcast and watch us remind you on the
You're the one that
podcast.
edits it all. You see it again.
Not really. I just zone out when I edit these.
Yeah.
It's like just because I edit in 2 times speed and it's really fast.
Yeah. Anyway.
And I just make sure we cut out anything that's,
We don't cut nothing out. What do you mean?
Definitely.
Yeah, we've only actually cut out like
never
1 or 2
cut out
things.
of Liam's piss ever.
Liam, yeah, the only thing I ever have to cut out is Liam just leaving the set.
But I
just
told
get
you-
up and go.
I told
Go
you,
on.
I always do it whenever you guys are talking. I told
Yes,
you that.
but
And listen, I gotta pee.
Hey,
Guys-
the people
guys gotta
don't.
pee.
The people want us to flow naturally. We don't want to cut things out. We want people make sure
See,
we're authentic.
We're gonna have to cut this out.
No,
Anyway,
no.
the Chernobyl documentary is phenomenal. Anyone
Yes.
that's listening, get
HBO.
HBO Max, buy HBO. Just do it for a month. I don't give a shit.
Free trial.
You-
Watch this thing.
I never thought it would be great.
I'll start it tonight after this. Handshake, left-handed.
I hate that.
And you're left-handed.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I
How
throw
do you golf?
You think you're
left-handed.
left-handed?
How do I
throw?
write?
How do you throw?
Right-handed. Left-handed.
So you're amphibious.
How do you play hockey?
Yeah.
Ambidextrous.
Left-handed.
Oh, okay.
So I do those things left-handed.
So
but
I
I write
do-
with my right hand.
I write
How do you
right-handed.
salute?
Huh?
You always salute.
one way.
Yeah.
I know there's a trick question.
Yeah. I
Which way
do
is it?
everything right-handed except play hockey.
Seriously?
Yes.
He forced himself to do that though. He's like left.
No,
isn't
that was
cool.
that was the first hockey stick I ever
only
got.
stick
was
you could
left-handed.
find. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, basically. And so I learned how to play hockey left-handed.
I get that. Initially, mustard gas, which I think is pretty crazy, but I love those gas masks they used to wear. I think those are the most badass pictures. And I think when like horror movies and stuff, when I was a kid, I thought that was those were the scariest looking people. People that wore the huge masks.
Like the bird masks?
Yeah, like it's almost like people that are going to go clean a basement.
You're talking about like the medical people?
No. Oh, I guess they are from like the plague.
Yeah, the plague doctors?
Yeah.
When you say bird mask, that's what I think
Oh,
about,
those
because it's
masks
a
are
long
sketchy
beak.
too.
Yeah.
Those are interesting. You know why they ever did that? That's because those beaks that would come off them, they would stuff them with like fillers, and so they didn't inhale them. Like they didn't inhale the plague. They would fill them.
Really?
They would fill them. Yeah, use them as filters. They would fill them with like clothes or stuff like that, or
So they
different
thought-
types of flowers, so they would smell better and stuff like that.
Huh.
That's why they were made.
Those
like
are
that.
creepy.
That's why bird flu hasn't been around since recently.
You want to know what those pictures are always so.
The plague doctors?
I think they're even a little bit scary. Not like scary, but like they look ominous
They are.
because they're black and white. I think black and white makes things look a little bit more sketchy on photos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not used to seeing it. So like, it's like that.
yeah.
I don't know what the phenomena is called. But like when you see something that is very close to human, but you know it isn't human,
Mm-hmm.
it scares you out more than anything because you
Yeah.
know it's not quite human.
That's an interesting topic. Actually, I never thought about it that way.
You guys never came across that or anything? Yeah, like it's a like a psychological fact or whatever that if you see something that looks like a human,
It's like
but
that's
you
so
know
close.
it's not, it scares the shit out of you.
So like shadows and stuff. Like if I see like a swing set, but it's in the shape of a person, and I'm like,
That's
kinda what we're
It's
thinking?
not.
Maybe.
Yeah, kind of. It's
Maybe
not
it's
quite
more of
there,
like a-
but it's
like
really
a
close.
Skinwalker type
So-
of deal.
Bingo. Yeah.
initially, airplanes were used primarily for reconnaissance, providing information about enemy positions. As airplane technology advanced, both sides developed designs for mono and biplane fighters and began mounting machine guns and bombs on the planes. What are we laughing at now? Did I say something wrong?
No, you didn't.
Real curious.
No, I was just laughing at us in general.
Why?
Because I went from talking about skinwalkers and you just go, yep, airplanes.
I guess, yeah.
This podcast is
Well, we gotta move. We gotta
anomaly.
talk a little bit about
I know.
war.
Well, that's the thing about and I texted Nathan about this earlier too. They would drop. So when I was talking about propaganda earlier, it wasn't exactly like propaganda, but like they would drop these things from the planes that would say like, these soldiers that have been going to the doctor, that have been trying to they're just trying to avoid the war because they're trying to go to the doctor, and so they would keep like all these people. That
I'm hurt.
They would all get sick, yeah, and so they try to go to the doctor, and the doctor would say, "You're just trying to avoid the war. Get back out there." And then so they would keep sick and injured people in the trenches and in fighting the war, and it was this whole deal to where it was like.
Really?
Yeah, all the tactics, like all the psychological stuff that went into it was just crazy.
Just a bunch of mind fucks.
Yeah, because that's how it is.
Well, we'll get into propaganda here after we got a couple more things for the evolution of war. Soldiers in World War I got trench foot. So this is what we're talking about. It's a tingling and or itching sensation, pain, swelling, cold and blotchy skin, numbness, and a prickly or heavy feeling in the foot.
That is so much.
Yeah.
You
which
just
would suck.
diagnosed everything wrong with anybody's foot ever.
Imagine that many symptoms. You're like, it's
Yeah.
all of those. You go to the doctor and they like go down the list and you got to check off yes or no. Yes, 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 yes.
You got like 3 of the 15 that you just mentioned. Like,
You're fine.
I think you got trench foot.
Yeah.
Nope. It's actually athlete's foot. The foot
It's
may be
turf toe.
red, turf toe. The foot may be red, dry, and painful after it becomes warm. Blisters may form, followed by skin and tissue dying and falling off. Prolonged
like frostbite.
but with wet and cold
Yeah.
temperatures. Prolonged exposure to a cold temperature that is usually above freezing and damp, sometimes unsanitary conditions. So I think it's just the trenches were just shitty and gross, and they would just stand in it and just for so long.
No, they didn't have a choice.
I heard
that's how bacteria grows.
Yeah.
In those conditions.
I heard the rats in the trenches were insane.
I never even thought about that.
No, I've heard that as well.
And I don't know, because when I picture the trench, I believe so. It's dirt, obviously, and I think they had on the bottom was like a wooden platform to walk across, but under that was just disgusting.
Oh man, like where do you go to the bathroom? They
I'm
don't
just
have
about to say
fucking-
that.
Right
They
there.
don't have outhouses.
I think
Can't
just
leave
shit.
the trench.
I think
Just
just
shit and piss and puke or whatever it is that you do.
you just keep going in your pants.
Yeah. Well, maybe not, but
Hope not.
You think they should have done diapers?
probably. But they
Depends.
you
Was the
get
biggest
it.
sponsor for the World War I and
But
II.
It's like
Shoot them out of the cannon when you get done with them.
shit
That is the shit cannon. That is some psychological warfare there. Imagine getting hit in the chest with a diaper.
It's like that didn't hurt you. Then
think
all of
the
a sudden
cannon-
you look at it, and you're like, oh, what?
You think the cannonball's gonna go through you and it just hits you and explodes? You're like,
Yeah, you're sitting there in the trenches. You're like, this war sucks. The cannonball's coming right for me. It's just a little diaper full of shit, and you're like,
No.
person next to you is really green though, so the person that shot it must have had a lot of sugar that day.
Yeah. God.
Goose is back.
Goose.
That would be crazy. Just shoot
That is some.
He's got some
wild
solid stuff. He's like,
Psychological warfare.
that's a healthy guy. And then you got hit with just some
water.
absolute lava.
It's just poop soup. They can barely keep it in the diaper.
Poop soup.
The other
And
one's
it's like,
just a
this
nice.
guy has been hating his trench life. He's been drinking so
It's
much.
hit with solid turds, and then the other one is just like liquid garbage.
I'd rather get hit with a solid turd. Than
I'd rather get hit with
a.
a cannonball. I'd skip both of those options.
I'd
What if they-
rather suck start that cannon.
What if they were just shooting rats?
I don't think
they'd
the
probably
rats
die.
would
Yeah.
stay alive and solid long enough.
Neither would a diaper.
That'd be annoying though. Getting hit with a rat, even if it was dead. It's like, what the fuck? Hit me?
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Big
Piece
rat.
of shit.
Yeah. You just have to dispose of it, so now it's your problem. World War II brought forward huge changes to the way war was waged. Instead of fighting in trenches, troops began to take cover in shell craters and foxholes rather than hunker down in set lines. I don't know what a foxhole is, but
It's like a den.
hole where foxes live.
Yeah.
Is it that simple?
fox
Like
den.
underground.
Yeah.
I would have dressed as a fox to go that extra layer.
Really?
No, it's just a bunch of
Look at me.
foxes in
I'm
there.
a really big fox.
You kill a fox, cut its head off, tie it to the top of your head.
Like Lewis and Clark with the raccoon mask.
Yeah.
You put Lewis and Clark in a raccoon hole, and you wouldn't know your ass from your
What is a
elbow.
raccoon hole? What are you going to do?
Is that a thing?
Like if you come
Raccoon
across a
hole.
guy
They usually
and-
live in trees.
Raccoons do?
or
Terrifying.
They
dumpsters.
live in
know
hollowed
that.
out trees.
Hollowed out?
Or dumpsters.
Like canoes?
Close, except they're not canoe shaped.
Wood boats.
They're not canoes.
They're not. They're not
They're
canoes.
still standing?
Yeah, they're still standing. Usually.
I didn't know raccoons lived in trees.
Yeah.
I would have thought they lived anywhere they possibly could have.
Well, they do, but whenever I'm out hunting, like when I'm in the field, I see them inside like broken or tipped out, hollowed
Okay.
out trees. But
That
they're
makes
usually
sense.
that's a weird thing is that they're not like they're in trees that are straight up and down still. They hide in there because they can climb in and out of them. But porcupines are the ones that live inside the ones that are tipped over.
And fallen.
Huh.
Porcupines probably can't climb like a raccoon can.
Sure can.
Really?
Dude, raccoons can do some crazy shit. Like
I
they
know,
have like
but can a
opposable
porcupine?
thumbs and everything.
No, they get to the top of trees.
Porcupines do a lot of shit, man.
Porcupine seems like a Walmart raccoon with spikes.
You say Walmart raccoon, but those guys literally shooting knives at you.
Do porcupines shoot needles out of their back?
I
don't know.
Or do they
I
just
think
have
I
kind
them?
don't know about that.
how does a porcupine put the quills in you?
I think you just touch it.
Because they detach from their body.
I think they actually can protrude them to an extent.
Protrude. Now he's using big words on us to make us think we're wrong.
Dictionary guy over here.
It's not even that big of a word.
established
Protrude.
that
Hmm.
we have
Say
a
shoot,
brain
man.
guy.
I don't think porcupines shoot needles.
No, I don't.
I don't think
do.
they objective.
Nathan, let's hear what's
Don't-
going on here.
Yeah, go ahead, pal.
When confronted, the porcupine will place his nose between his front legs and spin around so that its tail end is facing the predator. So if it's attacked, it strikes it with its tail.
So it hits them with the tail or shits on them.
No, the quills come off their body.
Yeah.
Right, and maybe
Yeah, like
I don't
pokes
know
you
if-
though. I don't think
know
it's
if they-
traveling distance through the air.
Right,
They don't
yeah,
shoot them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not coming out of their body, but I think maybe they stick out a little further than
Yeah.
a normal
piece of fur or something.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're
that's
long.
the whole point. Yeah, that's the protective layer around them is the quills.
Yeah.
Yeah. Airplanes had advanced significantly. Bombers could destroy cities, hit strategic locations, and cause havoc. Air superiority became a key factor in the battle planes on both sides. U.S. developed the first atomic bomb, dropping it onto the city of Hiroshima, killing how many people?
A lot.
I'm gonna say
80,000. You were going to guess way off.
I was gonna guess 150, but
And causing a huge amount of damage to the city. When the Japanese didn't surrender, the American forces dropped another, even more powerful atomic bomb onto Nagasaki, killing 70,000 more people. So 150 total.
It was the fat boy and the little man, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
The detonation of this second bomb brought an end to the war. So it's pretty much just like, fuck this, we're done.
have you guys ever
No
heard,
more of that.
heard the story about the dude in Hiroshima? He had a job in there in the city, and the bomb was dropped, and he couldn't make it to work, but he tried to go to work at his company's branch or whatever in the next city over, and then it got bombed.
Really?
I don't know if that's true.
Let's make sure if we clip this for TikTok
Yeah.
and Reels, we don't know if it's true.
Yeah.
That's
But
hey, we
I've-
swore an oath to never lie on this podcast.
But I have heard that story or read it multiple times where a dude missed work because of the bomb, and then the next day or a few days later, he went to the next city and it was bombed.
He's like, whew, good thing I dodged that bullet. God. Looks up.
Could you imagine?
Well, is that quiet? Wasn't
I'm sure it
loud at
probably
all.
wasn't loud.
Probably wasn't yelling at
Imagine
you. I'm a
being-
bomb. Here I go.
Imagine being in one of those cities and you look up and you're like,
You probably don't even
I
see
can
it
about bet you don't see it. Yeah.
until after it hits the ground.
yeah, but I don't think they shoot it. I think
they
they just drop it.
Yeah, a hatch opens up and it falls.
I think you see the plane, and then you see the plane, and you go, "That's not good."
Yeah, but you see the plane, but imagine you're tracking the plane, and then it's obviously far away, so you probably don't see the hatch open, but you're tracking it. And then as the plane goes, you look left, and out of the corner of your eye, you see the bomb, and you're like, that's not good.
Fuck.
That's going to kill me.
Yeah.
What do? You got 15 seconds to live.
You make your peace with God.
Yeah. When you're talking,
I don't think you do
about-
anything.
That's crazy, Nathan.
I don't think you.
because
I don't
there's
think
nothing,
you do
dude.
anything.
Yeah, you make peace because you and everything around you within a, I don't know, fucking 3-mile radius
Or more. Yeah.
more probably way more. I mean, it's getting flattened.
If you believe, you go,
Yeah.
please help me. And if you don't, you go, if you're real, please help me.
If you're real.
That's the thing. That's what I heard. Now that you mentioned that, there's no atheists in foxholes. I heard that saying a long time
I've heard
ago.
that too.
Yeah,
In foxholes?
There's
Like
no-
the
yeah.
war thing?
yeah. There's no atheists in foxholes because when you're hunkered down there and they're dropping mortars and bombs on you, you're praying to someone to save you.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's like the lucky cigarette.
Yep.
I couldn't figure that out. I texted you guys a couple weeks
Yeah,
back.
if you guys don't know what a lucky cigarette is, people in the trenches and foxholes in World War I and II, they would have a pack of cigarettes. They would open it up, pick a cigarette out, and flip it upside down. And if you were lucky enough, you would get to the last cigarette, which was the upside down one, because you'd save it for last.
And if you got there, you knew that
You were lucky.
You were
I'm lucky because I shouldn't be this alive
I
right
got
now.
to at least smoke this last cigarette.
The Vietnam War. So we're gonna
Hang on a second.
talk a couple more. Nathan's actually
Yeah.
got something for us.
If you were 13 miles away from a nuclear bomb, you would still be blinded.
Blinded?
Straight up blind.
Like blound?
Is the past tense of blinded blound?
I don't
Dude,
think so.
I
No,
don't
blinded is already in past tense.
Blinded guys go around. Yeah, I was blound in like 2008.
No,
You'd
you're
get blinded. Yeah, because blinded by the
Or that's
light.
when I went blind.
Got
You were
when
blind.
when you got blind.
God
Being dead?
damn. Hate you guys.
Blended. Have you ever seen the movie Blended?
Blinded.
The Vietnam War was one of the most divisive wars in American history. Instead of direct confrontation, the Viet Cong, which I've always loved the Viet Cong. That's a great
Sounds so
name.
good.
Doesn't that sound
Is it because of
badass?
Donkey Kong? That's how I think about it.
No.
They say
But-
Donkey Kong and then they say Viet Cong. I'm like, there's some badass dudes. Because if you ever played Super Smash, Donkey Kong was a badass dude.
Yeah, I
That's-
never played it, so I
that's
can't
my
chime in.
view.
But I just like it because it's an abbreviated Vietnam, the Viet Cong. They opted for guerrilla tactics when they would focus on ambushes and hit and run attacks, which I think, like I said earlier, should have been option one. If you're like pinning things to a board, a cork board, it's like, okay, guys, what strategy we're going to go with the war? Guerrilla warfare is probably at the top for me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they were in their fucking home territory. They knew.
The
what was
pits
going
Yeah.
full of spikes. People
on. Oh,
would fall
dude,
and just,
those
Booby traps.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's actually what I was going to get
horrible.
into. The booby traps. The Viet Cong strategy of guerrilla warfare used booby traps to get to great effect against American forces. They often constructed these booby traps using mines, artillery rounds, and grenades. Pressure plates and tripwires were attached to the explosives to create a trap for American troops. That's actually sick. I love booby traps. Brings me back my Indiana Jones days. He had to
What
go through a
days?
lot of booby traps. I watched a couple movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little phase
In a
your life.
3-year span, I watched
Yeah.
2 probably. But yeah, by the end of the war, booby traps had injured 45,000 U.S. troops. That is the city of
Horrible.
Minot on
Horrible.
booby traps.
Yeah.
The evolution of war weapons has allowed people to conduct war remotely. Thousands of miles away from battlefields, troops can deploy and pilot combat drones that fly into combat zones. These drones can be used for reconnaissance, airstrikes, and various other purposes. This is obviously today's day and age. Thousands of miles away. That's awesome. First used in Operation Desert Storm in 91, Tomahawk cruise missiles fly at subsonic speeds at low altitudes to allow them to attack a wide swath of surface targets. Sounds horrible. The missiles are so advanced that they can be redirected to different coordinates even after launch. That's kind of cool. But if I'm launching it like a mile, it's probably it's probably hard to type in the coordinates to redirect it. What if I'm shooting it from 3,000 miles away? Developed during the Cold War, space weapons. I didn't even know this was a thing. Do you know space weapons were a thing?
oh yeah.
Space weapons allow countries to shoot a range of warheads from space to targets on Earth. destroy satellites or space systems in orbit, and disable enemy missiles that might be traveling through space as well. I had no idea we have missiles in space.
Oh, I'm sure
Why
there's
not?
tons of missiles in space.
Yep.
And a bunch of countries have missiles in space.
Probably like the ones that can afford it.
That's wild. That's like real life Star Wars getting to be.
Yeah, maybe like a percentage of that, but yeah.
Yeah,
We're
like
on the way.
war in space,
We're getting there.
Star Wars.
It's like we're killing people in space. We're using space to transport the killers.
Yeah, but they're shooting down satellites in space that have other missiles, which is weird to think about.
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
What would be more scary? You look up in the sky, kind of like you were seeing that plane go across, and all of a sudden something comes out of the plane, or you're having a relaxing night looking at the stars, and all of a sudden one gets a little bit bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and next thing you know, boom.
I'd rather be in war.
It's a tough one.
Well,
You're
I'd
thinking
probably-
about both options having impending doom. So you're just waiting.
I'd say looking up into the sky and seeing a star get bigger and bigger is going to give me more time to think about things.
I'd rather be prepared for it, because if you're in war and you look at it, you're like, I already thought I was going to die a little bit. So,
yeah, but
like if you're looking up at the sky, stargazing or some shit, and you're like,
because if
I'm going to die
stargazing-
now? I wasn't planning on this shit right now.
Well, and if I'm stargazing, I'm probably with a girl who stargazes by themselves. You know, some people do, I guess.
do.
But
I'd do that.
in this scenario, I like to think it.
I got back home from the fair one night and it was just hammer raining and I was just drunk and I just laid out in the backyard and just let the rain just pelt me.
He comes inside and I go, what have you been doing? And he goes, I laid out in the rain and was watching the stars and stuff. Like,
That's fine.
Which
I
actually
like
you
that.
can't do because if it's raining, there's clouds.
And there's
so you can't
water
watch the
droplets
stars.
hitting your eyeballs.
Yeah. So I wasn't watching the stars, but I was just laying there with my eyes closed and just
Watching the
Feeling
stars is
the
a better
just
story.
getting rained on. Yeah. And so I was just, not too many people run from the rain. You know what? Feel the rain.
Wartime propaganda. We talked about that a little bit, but that's pretty much demoralize the enemy morale. A primary objective of propaganda aimed at enemy nations is to break down their will to fight. Most common types were fear, the bandwagon, name calling, which is awesome. I use that propaganda even sometimes with my friends. Euphemism, glittering generalities, transfer, and the testimonial. Do you have any war propaganda stories, Liam? I know you wanted to talk about that.
I think I might have already touched on that. Less about the propaganda. What, Nathan?
He wants us to speed it up.
Fuck off.
We're fine. We're fine. Long podcast for you guys this week, guys.
You guys can tune in now. Hope you got a long drive to work. But
Commuting.
no,
a plane.
just the different tactics and shit that they would use. I think it was less about propaganda, but stuff with like medical. Like stuff like that when they would say like, "Oh, these people are sick just to get out of the war." Like put them back in the trenches and stuff like that.
And the
that's-
posters and everything they had was just like they'd skew it in whatever way they wanted.
Yeah, that in a more literal sense to the propaganda, that incites nationalism is a term that I'd like to throw out there that I remember from high school.
There we go.
There's a big one, brain guy.
Pulling back into the brain guy, double knuckle. Pulling back into I don't know what lobe of your brain that's in, but you pulled it back.
Felt good. There's tons of different stuff. When you think about, there was something with gas masks. I can't remember what it was. I had texted Nathan about it earlier, but it was like
You and Nathan must have had a good conversation over.
I was
text today.
ripping him off because I should have been doing it myself and trying to see what I could find. But if he can't find it, I can't find it.
Think you're better than me?
I never said that.
better Googler. Anything else you want to touch on there?
Nah.
Some famous war movies. 1917, Midway, Hacksaw Ridge.
Saving Private Ryan. Is that on there?
It's on there, yes.
Okay.
War Dogs, American Sniper, Lone Survivor, Saving Private Ryan, Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder.
Zero Dark
Come
30.
on.
War Dogs is one of my top 10 movie for sure. Might
Fury
even be
not on
top
there?
5. Yeah, I didn't throw it on there. There's
Fury's
a bunch
a
I could put on
great
there. but
Fury's so good.
I just put a lot of the ones that just popped up that I've seen.
I think for me personally, Saving Private Ryan is probably my number one.
top
What
10
about you?
movie
What
of
do you-
all time, not even in the war genre, for sure.
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, and War Dogs is top 10 for sure too. I love that movie.
That-
Even 1917. Have you seen 1917?
I haven't yet.
That's shot. It's a oneer.
Yeah.
So in the filmmaking world, there's no cuts in the movie. There's one hidden cut that you can see if you really watch closely. But I remember being in the movie theaters. I've told this story before, but 12 minutes in, I was like, they haven't cut yet. Like, it's still the same shot that they opened the movie with. And then like 35 minutes in, I'm like, they still haven't cut yet. And then like 50 minutes in, you would be able to tell too. The average person would be able to tell after 15, 20 minutes.
That it's the same film.
That it's the same shot. They have not hit stop on the camera yet. They just walk through the scene for 45 minutes.
So like this is like peak acting performance.
Yeah, it's like if you fuck up any word, if you stumble on anything, you restart from the top. You start from the beginning of the movie. Which I've read some, watched some videos on how they actually filmed it and stuff. There are hidden cuts, which now I'm ruining it for the people that have seen it and love that it was, but there are some hidden cuts. So there's times when they're in the trenches and they walk into one of the bunkers and they walk through the doorway and it goes from being bright outside to now it's dark in the bunker. So when they're walking through the doorway, it's almost to pitch black where there's a hidden cut in there. So they hide cuts in there like that, but to the average eye, if you're watching it, looks like it's 45 minutes straight. He jumps into a river. You can tell there's a cut there. And then it's the next 45 minutes of the movie. It's crazy. Next time you guys watch it, look for it. It's actually pretty sweet.
What is that, 1917?
1917, yep. Roger Deakins, my favorite director of photography. My favorite cinematographer shot it. Last thing I want to mention is that one U.S. division wore a swastika on their uniforms. Because it was actually before Hitler made it not a great symbol. It was a sign for good luck.
Really?
Yep. And there's many other meanings before he made it the I Hate Jews logo.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I mean,
is it not?
I mean,
yeah. You know what?
Pretty much.
It's like that Eric Andre thing. Why are you booing? I'm right.
Stop booing. Like I'm.
But I mean, like if anybody gets mad about that, about you calling
Hitler
it that,
literally hated him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody gets mad at you about that, it's like, you know what? I'm right. So
and I'm guaranteed they don't like that logo. I don't like that logo.
Nobody likes that logo. You shouldn't. It's not a great one.
No, but one U.S. division wore it on their uniforms. But yeah, that's episode 12 on war. That's a fun one. Went a little bit longer, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll give you a little bit more to watch throughout the week. I don't know if you guys watch these in one episode or if you watch 20 minutes here and there on whatever day it might be.
Odd way to watch a podcast.
Well, that's what I know what my dad does.
20 minutes here and there.
He watches like 25 minutes
when he has
one
a break
day and
at
then the
work
next
or
day.
something.
Yeah. So like his off hour
Really?
at school, he'll watch a little
He's
bit
a
of it.
teacher, not a student.
Yeah. He's always learning though.
Always,
through this podcast,
always
through this
teacher.
podcast. But there's some podcasts like where I don't watch them from start to finish either. Like, okay, I only got 45 minutes here, and I'll watch the next 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So, however you guys watch them, a little bit longer one, but that's all right. You got 7 days before the next episode.
Leave a comment.
Write
rating,
a postcard.
review. Yeah, write a postcard.
Definitely write a postcard. Would love to see the next part of the Zodiac Killer here.
Yeah, we haven't seen any more postcards, and we don't have any more leads on who it was. But thank you guys for watching. Rating, review gets us up in the algorithm. And we will see you guys next week for episode 13 of the 3 Dudes podcast. Peace out.